listening to Heroes Initiative.
Hey guys, welcome back to part 2. I'm here with Natalie, Sean, and Laurel, and we're just gonna hop right back into it. I feel like kind of one point I really want to make about this is like you're always called to be on mission, whether you were on a trip with Send Me Now or kind of on your campus. Like, we're always called to be on mission. My one thing is like your practical application for y'all is like, how did that, like going on mission with Send Me Now, how does that translate to the way you were on mission at Georgia Tech?
Yeah. This might also answer a different question too, but one thing during the summer is that it's the expectation that you are focusing on and pursuing sharing the gospel and ministry, right? I mean, that's kind of obvious because that's essentially your quote unquote job for the 8 hours of the day. And then there's this understanding that this is our job always. Our first and foremost priority of us as followers of Christ is to pursue missions in this way. And so one of the biggest things that I've taken away from my trip, and that I still come back to many times because I realize where I fail in it too, is the self-sacrificial manner in which we live this out. And I guess the classic example is, like when we're tired or whatever it is from the trip, it didn't matter if we were tired or not, we still had to do it. And there was 16 other students keeping me accountable and a campus minister keeping me accountable. And so when it's 7:00 at night and you're in your apartment and you've just gotten done with a full day of school and you maybe still have more, it's very easy to tell ourselves that we're not on mission, so we don't need to do this. But the truth of that is we're always called to follow God, and we need to do as we ought to. And so, yes, the entire summer and just, yes, I mean, there's some pressure to follow what we got to do, but that, I think it's rightly due pressure, and that kind of carries over is just realizing that we always have to live that out, and that does mean giving up ourselves.
I mean, you said it so well. I think it's 1 Corinthians 10:31. It's whatever you eat or drink or whatever you do it for the glory of God. And there's not a timeline given in that verse. And yeah, we would get in from a long day of work and be like, man, we could all just go to bed, but instead we'd stayed up and we fellowshipped and we encouraged one another. And some nights we would go out into the community and just interact with people and ask them about Jesus. And I think you encapsulated that really well. But yeah, do everything for the glory of God, and he'll give you the strength to do it.
What is something that really surprised you about going on your specific trips? Was it something about someone that you had met there, or maybe about the environment that you were working in that you hadn't anticipated? What is one thing that might have surprised you?
Camp Pinnacle does not have very much staff, and yet they still can throw a whole camp for the summer. It's like, as far as I knew, there were only 2 people that were on staff. It was the cook and kind of like the facilities guy, and then everybody else that came in was either a volunteer or just like a part-time worker. And yet God has still been using it for so many years to draw people to himself. And it just was a good reminder that it doesn't matter how little you think you have, God is still going to use that. And it was just really cool to see what he had done, even just through a couple people, full-time people.
I think the most surprising thing to me was, I guess, the value of children's ministry. I'm not a person that's that's naturally inclined to let's teach children. I'm not the most patient with them. Sometimes in that teaching I just want to go like, oh man, I've had enough. They're not learning anything. Let me quit. But through seeing other people and through seeing the value in it and the results of that, I realized the value in teaching and training children in the way that they should go.
Kind of piggybacking off of what Laurel said, how do you think we can be praying for the communities that you serve?
The biggest thing, in the off season and the camp season, summer, pray for the campers that are going to be there, because for some of them that may be the first time that they interact with God, that they hear the gospel, and God can use that to change their lives. Pray for the counselors that are coming in, that they would be preparing their hearts, because I think it's around this time is when you would apply to be a counselor, and then you have to go through an interview process. Pray for the staff there, that they would continue to work, even though it's hard to run a full camp if it's just a couple people and some volunteers, but again, God sustains it for as long as he wills. And I guess finally the community up there in general, there's not much going around up there, but they need to hear Jesus too. And that camp is like, it's known around the community as, you know, being a Christian summer camp, so that they would use that outreach to reach the community as well.
One thing I would say is definitely be praying for not only people to, I guess it's Matthew 9:36 through 38, I think, where it talks about pray earnestly for the workers to be sent out into the Lord's harvest. And so definitely be in prayer for that, but also just that the local churches there would grow, and that would be a primary ministry as well. More people can come from out of state, can be added from out of state, but unless those churches grow and the people there understand and learn and grow and believe and go out and share that, then the work is not ultimately going to be done. It's the people there whose lives get changed and who go and show others the changed life. That's going to be the most vital thing.
So my kind of question for y'all is like, how can we be praying for you, like with what kind of God stirred on your heart and kind of burdened you with, or maybe anything that God convicted you of and stuff like that? Like, how can we be praying for you?
Like I mentioned earlier, when we went to the Spanish church, I'm working with international students this year, so if you could pray for how the BCM interacts with international students and any relationships that we form with them, that we would be bold in sharing the gospel with them and just love on them a lot.
Yeah, a lot that I've been thinking about is how do our lives and our outward looking to other people and loving them and discipling them and teaching them, how does that reflect what is going on in our lives? God has convicted me that I've not done a good job of that, and that's been a heavy focus of my year.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing all of that about your trips. It's just been such a great experience to be able to listen to that and also hear about the things that God continues to stir in us to have us sort of carry around our days with. So do you have any final thoughts or things that you'd like to say to our audience or anyone who's thinking about applying to a mission trip, particularly Send Me Now mission trips, which partner with BCM? What would you say to everybody?
Definitely do it. It is so worth it. Whether you can do a whole week or your entire summer, it'll change your life in one way or another. Do it.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth missing a summer's worth of internship.
That's so good to hear, because especially at Tech, I feel like everybody's so career focused and stuff like that, and it's really important, I feel like, just to take time out of our day to reflect. Like, we are called to reflect God and make his name known, and whether that's on mission trip or Georgia Tech, there's something that we all should be doing, like, no matter how much work we have and stuff like that. Like, us being here is to reflect God. Thank you all again for your time. That's all for this episode, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Heroes Initiative.